Good morning. Today's topic is histamine and antihistamines. Learning objectives under this topic are introduction of histamine, histamine synthesis, storage, release and metabolism. What are the different types of histamine receptors? Classification of antihistamines, their pharmacological characteristics and therapeutic uses, toxicity, indications and contraindications. Histamine is an amine autocoid or local hormone naturally occurring imidazole derivative. So autocoids are local hormones which are produced by the tissues or endothelial cells, which after being released locally they act at the site or near the site of their release. So histamine along with serotonin and bradykinin called as autocoids, and this histamine is mainly present in skin, gastrointestinal tract mucosa, lungs, brain, cerebrospinal fluid and bone marrow, and it is also a component of some venoms and sting secretions. The storage site of histamine is mast cells. This histamine is released from the mast cells during the inflammatory and allergic responses of the body. Concentration of histamine is high in tissues like skin, bronchial and intestinal mucosa due to the presence of large number of mast cells. In blood, histamine is stored in basophils, which resemble mast cells only morphologically but are of hemopoietic origin. The non-mast cell histamine is stored in histaminocytes in the stomach and in histaminergic neurons in brain. Next, synthesis of histamine. Histamine is synthesized mainly by an amino acid L-histidine with the help of enzyme histidine decarboxylase. The L-histidine amino acid is converted into histamine by undergoing decarboxylation. So the histamine is formed with the help of histidine decarboxylase, which converts the amino acid L-histidine into histamine. The histamine which is formed is metabolized to N-methylhistamine by histamine N-methyl transferase and imidazole acetic acid by non-specific enzyme diamine oxidase. And these metabolites have little or no activity, and these are excreted in the urine. This picture explains the synthesis of histamine. So here the L-histidine amino acid is converted to histamine with the help of L-histidine decarboxylase enzyme, and the histamine is metabolized or converted into N-methylhistamine by N-methyl transferase and imidazole acetic acid by diamine oxidase enzymes. So this picture shows the synthesis of histamine from amino acid L-histidine. Release of histamine. The stores of histamine from the mast cells can be released by mechanisms like immunologic release, chemical and mechanical release. Immunologic release means Initial exposure to allergen leads to production of IgE antibodies which bind to the respective IgE specific receptors which are present on tissue mast cells or blood basophils. Re-exposure to allergen may lead to degranulation of cytoplasmic granules and release of histamine with other allergic mediators. Histamine released by this mechanism is a mediator in immediate or type 1 allergy. In this diagram, so it shows the mast cell where allergen or antigen comes and binds with the IgE receptors, followed by degranulation of the mast cells leading to liberation of histamine. So histamine is also released by chemical and mechanical stimuli like morphine, D-tubocurarine, succinylcholine, hydralazine, radio contrast media, heat, cold, exposure to sunlight, proteolytic enzymes and X-rays. So these also cause degranulation of mast cells and histamine release. Histamine receptors. 4 different histamine receptors subtypes have been identified and designated as H1, H2, H3 and H4. All the 4 receptor types are G protein coupled receptors. There will be no close resemblance to each other. Only H3 receptor is predominantly presynaptic. Its activation decreases histamine release from histaminergic or other neurons. H1 and H2 receptors are postsynaptic and these are present on cell membrane of neuroeffector junction. The H4 receptors are located on blood cells such as eosinophils, neutrophils and CD4 T cells. They may modulate production of these cell types or may play a role in chemotaxis. This table shows characteristics of histamine receptors. So these are 4 subtypes of histamine receptors: H1, H2, H3, H4. And these are the 4 different sizes. All are G protein coupled receptors. H1 it activates phospholipase C, therefore increase in calcium entry. H2 it is stimulatory, that is it stimulates the membrane bound adenylate cyclase which may leads to increased cyclic AMP. H3 receptor it is inhibitory, it inhibits membrane bound adenylate cyclase activity, therefore decreased cyclic AMP. H4 it also decreases the adenylyl cyclase activity, therefore decreased cyclic AMP occurs. And these are distributed H1 in smooth muscles, endothelial cells and central nervous system, H2 in gastric parietal cells, heart, mast cells, central nervous system, H3 in central nervous system, presynaptic and myenteric plexus, that is intestinal, H4 in the cells of hematopoietic origin, that is in blood cells. And the following 2 are respective agonist and antagonist for these receptors. So mainly these receptors are G protein coupled receptors, where H3, H4 are inhibitory, which inhibits the adenylyl cyclase activity, therefore decreases the cyclic AMP, but H1, H2, H1 is it activates phospholipase C, increases the calcium entry, and the H2 stimulates the adenylyl cyclase activity and increases the cyclic AMP. H1 receptor mediated actions. Histamine is a powerful stimulant of sensory nerve endings mediating pain and itching. H1 mediated effect is an important component of urticarial response to insect bites and stings. Activation of these H1 receptors in smooth muscles produces bronchoconstriction, spasmodic contractions of ileum and uterus. Contractions of these intestinal smooth muscles results in intestinal cramps and diarrhea. Histamine increases secretions of exocrine glands in bronchioles, pancreas, salivary and lacrimal glands, and it also stimulates adrenal medulla to release norepinephrine, which produces insignificant effects in normal person, but in cases of pheochromocytoma it may be sufficient to raise blood pressure. Postsynaptic H1 receptors are present in central nervous system, which mediates the maintenance of wakefulness, but its blockade may lead to drowsiness. H2 receptor mediated actions are: histamine is a powerful stimulant of gastric acid secretion, and it is an effect produced by activation of the H2 receptors, which are present on gastric parietal cells. It also stimulates secretions in small and large intestine, but the gastric pepsin secretion and intrinsic factor production are affected to a lesser extent. H1 and H2 receptor mediated actions. When H1 and H2 receptors are stimulated, it causes dilatation of arterioles and postcapillary venules, where there is fall in the blood pressure, increased permeability of postcapillary venules, and headache will be there due to stretching of sensory fibers around the cranial arteries. Histamine-induced vasodilatation is mediated due to the release of endothelium-derived relaxing factor, that is nitric oxide. In the heart, there will be positive chronotropic effect due to H2 receptors and positive inotropic effect due to H1 and H2 receptors. That is, there will be increased heart rate and force of contraction due to the H1 and H2 receptor mediated actions. Next important thing about these histamine receptors are mainly H1 and H2, triple response is produced. Triple response occurs mainly when the histamine is injected intradermally, and it is characterized by flush, wheal and flare. Flush means it is immediate reddening of the skin. Wheal means formation of edematous patch. Flare is a red irregular halo surrounding the wheal. Flush results due to dilatation of the vessels, capillaries. Wheal occurs due to the increased permeability of the capillaries on venules. Flare is a consequence of axon reflex causing vasodilatation through the release of vasodilatory neuromediator. So, these are the characteristic features of triple response which occurs due to the histamine. Next is anaphylactic shock. Severe hypersensitivity reaction. Anaphylactic shock is a severe hypersensitivity reaction which occurs due to this H1 and H2 histamine receptor actions. H3 receptor mediated actions both in central nervous system and autonomic nervous system. The presynaptic H3 receptor serves as feedback inhibitors for the release of histamine. Activation of these H3 receptors in the heart decreases norepinephrine release. Hence, it helps to prevent arrhythmias and cardiac damage. H3 receptor activation by histamine rather inhibits the gastric acid release and blocks certain inflammatory processes. This picture shows the responses of the body due to the histamine release. So mainly it increases the frequent heartbeat, that is, it causes the increased heart rate and force of contraction leading to arrhythmias, causes the blood vessel dilatation, increases the gastric acid secretion, increases the inflammation, permeability of the capillaries, increases the secretion of the adrenaline, and it also causes bronchoconstriction in the lungs, and in the smooth muscles it causes dilatation, increases the secretion of the different glands. So these are all the features seen due to the histamine release in the body. Clinical use of histamine is, it is used as a positive control injection for skin allergy testing. It is the main clinical use of histamine, and the adverse effects includes flushing, hypotension, headache, wheal formation, bronchoconstriction, gastric acidity and intestinal cramps. And histamine is contraindicated in the patients of bronchial asthma because it causes the bronchoconstriction, and also in peptic ulcer because it increases the gastric acid secretion. Next is antihistamines. We will discuss about H1 receptor antagonist. These are competitive antagonists at H1 receptor. Competitive antagonist means here the antagonist combines and competes with the same receptor sites as does the agonist, but does not induce its own response, that is, it has no intrinsic activity. And these receptor antagonists are classified as first and second generation drugs. First generation drugs are short to intermediate acting, and these are highly lipid soluble, so they crosses the blood brain barrier easily and causes sedation. These drugs are likely to have more antimuscarinic side effects like dry mouth, decreased salivation, lacrimation, constipation, etc. Second generation drugs have longer duration of action. These are less lipid soluble and have poor permeability to blood brain barrier, so these are least sedative, and these are devoid of autonomic side effects like dizziness, fainting and orthostatic hypotension. These drugs are more potent and efficacious than first generation drugs. H1 receptor antagonists are classified into first generation antihistamines and second generation antihistamines. First generation antihistamines are divided into three categories. They are highly sedative, moderately sedative and mild sedative. Highly sedative drugs are diphenhydramine, dimenhydrinate, promethazine, hydroxyzine. Moderately sedative drugs are phentermine, cyproheptadine, meclozine, and synergine. Mild sedative drugs are chlorpheniramine, dexchlorpheniramine, triprolidine, and clemastine. So these all are first generation antihistamines. Second generation antihistamines are fexofenadine, loratadine, desloratadine, cetirizine, levocetirizine, agilastine, mijolastin, ibastine, and rupatadine. So these are second generation antihistamines. Second generation antihistamines are more potent and efficacious than first generation antihistamines because they won't cross the blood-brain barrier and these are less sedative. Pharmacokinetics of H1 receptor antagonist. Absorption. These drugs are well absorbed from oral and parenteral routes and widely distributed in the body and enters the brain. Newer compounds such as second generation H1 receptor antagonist penetrates the brain poorly, that is partially, or they won't crosses the blood-brain barrier, therefore less sedative effect will be there. Metabolism occurs in the liver by microsomal enzymes and excretion through the kidney. Pharmacological characteristics and therapeutic uses of H1 receptor antagonist. These are used to prevent or treat the symptoms of allergic rhinitis and urticaria. In case of atopic dermatitis, first generation drugs are preferred because of their additional sedative effects. For hay fever and chronic urticaria, non-sedating second generation drugs are preferred. Angioedema during anaphylaxis is precipitated by histamine. Hence, H1 receptor antagonists alone are not effective. So, adjuvantly glucocorticoids intramuscularly and adrenaline subcutaneously also needed along with the supportive measures such as oxygen inhalation. And also many of the first generation H1 receptor antagonists are having anti-muscarinic activity as a side effect. They are useful in preventing the motion sickness. Pharmacological characteristics and therapeutic uses of H1 receptor antagonist. These are used to prevent or treat the symptoms of allergic rhinitis and urticaria. For atopic dermatitis, which is a skin disorder, first generation H1 antagonists are preferred because of their additional sedative effects and also for the control of itching. For hay fever and chronic urticaria, non-sedating second generation drugs are preferred. Angioedema during anaphylaxis is precipitated by the histamine. Hence, this H1 receptor antagonist alone are not effective. So, adjuvantly glucocorticoids intramuscular and adrenaline subcutaneously along with the oxygen inhalation was administered to prevent this angioedema during anaphylaxis. Therapeutic uses of first generation drugs are dimenhydrinate and diphenhydramine instead of anti-muscarinic effects. These are effective in combating motion sickness. Doxylamine hydroxyzine promethazine acts as antiemetics. They prevent the vomiting sensation during the pregnancy, that is used in preventing the morning sickness. Diphenhydramine promethazine exhibits limited effectiveness in Parkinsonism for the control of the symptoms. Hydroxyzine depresses the central nervous system and produces antipruritic effect, which was used in skin allergies. Pyrilamine promethazine possess local anesthetic action. However, none of these is clinically used as local anesthetic. Cyproheptadine has notable anti-serotonin effects. Dimenhydrinate and doxepin are used in the treatment of insomnia or sleeplessness. Doxepin is having inhibitory effect on monoamine reuptake, so it is also used as tricyclic antidepressant, helpful in the treatment of insomnia. Second generation drug therapeutic uses are cetirizine is a derivative of hydroxyzine, which is a first generation drug, and it is the most sedative. Levocetirizine is more potent than cetirizine, so it is given as half dose of cetirizine. If cetirizine is advised to take 10 milligrams twice daily, so in the place of it we can use levocetirizine 5 milligrams once daily. So levocetirizine is more potent than cetirizine because it is most sedating. Estimazole is longest acting drug. Terfenadine is faster acting drug. Both are banned now due to the risk of arrhythmias, that is QT prolongation. Desloratadine is the most potent drug used nowadays to control the pruritus or itching. Rupatadine, which inhibits the platelet activating factor, has significant anti-inflammatory effect. Azilastine possesses maximum topical activity, that is, it can be used for topical use in case of skin disorders to prevent the symptoms like itching, inflammation, and it also can be given by nasal spray for allergic rhinitis. Adverse effects seen with this H1 receptor antagonist are sedation, mainly by first generation drugs, anti-muscarinic effects like dry mouth, dry secretions, that is decreased lacrimation, salivation, urinary retention and constipation. Drug allergy, tolerance, teratogenicity with the toxic doses, CNS effects like excitement, hallucination, that is false perception, convulsions, and finally coma occurs. So these are all the adverse effects seen with the H1 receptor antagonist, mainly first generation. H2 receptor antagonist. So drugs are cimetidine, ranitidine, famotidine and nizatidine. These blocks the gastric acid secretion and also some cardiovascular effects of histamine. So this can be used in healing the gastric ulcers, duodenal ulcers, reflux esophagitis and Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. In detail we will discuss about these drugs in GIT. So finally, in this topic you should know in detail about the histamine synthesis, storage, release, its pharmacological actions, clinical uses, adverse effects, and what are antihistamines, receptors, and what are the differences between first and second generation H1 antihistamines, their pharmacological actions, clinical uses and adverse effects. So you should know all these in detail in this topic. Thank you.